everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Cynthia and today's video is a journaling with me video, and it's also a design team project for Ruby and Pearl XO for the month of July. So here I'm just showing you, I'm almost done this beautiful journal, and it's getting really quite bulky, so it's a little bit hard to journal in, but obviously I really want to use up all the pages that I have in here. And this is actually like one of my last like full-on spread in there, because after this I think I've bulked it up to the max. And so here I'm just showing you the elements that I've selected. So of course I'm working with some digital prints. All the information about that will be listed down below. But I essentially, you know, using digital prints, my favorite way to use them is in my journal. And although I create ephemera with them and use them as full pages, I use them most just during my creating process when I'm doing some journaling. So I've selected some elements that I really like. These are newer. Again, I'll have or maybe I'll put it on the screen here that you can see which kits these are from. But these illustration just really spoke to me. I just like felt very connected to them, and I felt like they went really well with the page that's already present in the journal, and that's something that like is a little bit important to me. I think it was actually Cassie that said this once, and it really resonated with me on kind of like thinking ahead on how you're going to use those pages that are in your journal. Although it's okay to cover them, it's also really good to think about how you can use them as is within your journal. So for example, this page is beautiful and it has this really gorgeous drawing. Well, I knew that I wanted to kind of retain that and just build on that. So I also have this little envelope. It's a print, it's a vintage envelope. This one is from, I will put the kit here, but Heather actually also came out with a full digital kit of only envelopes. So I'm really excited to get my hands on that too. But for now, these are the items that I have. And my first step is going to be to just reinforce this image and make it into a bit of a journaling spot for myself. So kind of like a journaling card. And essentially I'm just going to back it with a piece of a vintage paper and use that little stamp and use that as a tab to be able to pull it out very easily. And so I'm just debating where I want to I'm going to stitch this image onto the paper, and I'm just kind of figuring out where I want to do that. And I'm really bad with really never wanting to lose any of the vintage papers that I'm working with. So I'm just deciding to fold it rather than trim it. And I'm going to be able to journal on a wider section of that paper. And that will just work out that way for me. So I do plan on putting it in this pocket here. I'm just making sure that it does fit, and it does. It's very snug, of course. As I said, the journal is extremely full, but I'm doing my best with what I've got here. And then my next element that I want to use is a piece of this vintage wallpaper, and I just really liked the colors of it. I thought it went really well with the blue of the envelope, and it was just very soft feeling to me. So I wanted to use that a little bit as a background, since I have quite a bit of an empty space right in between right behind the pocket. And so I want to use part of that, and I'm just kind of picking which part I want to be using. So I'm just getting a feel for what that's going to look like. And then I'm just going to press into the crack so that I know where to fold and tear. And whenever I'm tearing paper, depending on the paper that I'm using, so for example, this paper here is like a parchment type of paper, and it is a little bit sturdier, so I do have to fold the paper a few times for my liking anyway, so that I know that as I'm ripping it, it's going to continue to rip in the line that I created. And now, before I glue that onto there, I'm just trying to figure out where I want to put this little envelope. And I thought I wanted to put it on that side because it can open up, but I didn't really like that. I don't know why. And then I thought maybe I can have it over the pocket there. So again, it's a little bit snug, but I'm making it work, and I just really like that I'm still going to be able to journal under it and then slide something into it that I can journal, and then I can use that right page really just to create a quote that I want to kind of the sentiment of this spread. So that's what I'm going to do here. Now, before I glue the wallpaper onto here, I also want to figure out what I'm going to put under, because there's still like a blank space. And I figured maybe I'm just going to use some extra leftover from this green paper that I coffee stained. And so I'm just ripping a strip of that. And I did forget to age the wallpaper a little bit. I felt like, I don't know, I started applying glue to the page and then I was like, wait a minute, like this is looking too perfect for me. So you'll see me very briefly I kind of age the wallpaper. So I just fold it a little bit and then add a little bit of inking to it. Of course, you can absolutely skip that step or do more to it. Heather recently posted a video on how she ages papers, and it is like so comprehensive and so great. So I'll link that down below if you're curious. I thought that was like just absolutely genius. So here you see me apply a little bit of some inking and then just securing that onto the page here. And then briefly inking the envelope where it is folded and the inside of it as well, since although I'm obviously going to close it, but you can still kind of see a little bit inside. So I wanted to make sure that that part was not going to be super white. And I'm just going to use some double-sided tape to close up the envelope, and then some glue to slide it into the pocket and glue it on there. When I was recording this video, we were in the middle of a very intense heat wave in Canada, in the area where I live. And yeah, it was, you know what? This was the perk that I liked about it. So it was unbearable in a way that we don't have AC and we actually don't have any fans right now. So it got pretty hot, but we're really lucky and we have an unfinished basement in our home. So we're able to go downstairs and like cool off for a while. But what I have to say is my glue stick has never functioned so well, because it was warm in the house, so the glue stick was actually like gooey almost, and it was working so well compared to usual, because Alberta, which is where I am right now, is very, very dry climate. So I find that glue sticks unfortunately dry out really quickly, and so does like liquid glue. So that was definitely a perk, you know. You gotta you gotta look on the bright side of things. So that was a really good thing. All right, you guys. So now that I'm essentially like pretty much done this step, I'm just gonna glue the little envelope onto that pocket, and then I'm gonna take the other elements to my sewing machine and just sew around, just to add some texture and to secure the two sides of each item with each other. So I am back with these items that are now sewed, and I'm going to be able to slide that journaling card into the pocket and then slide the other very small card into the envelope. And as I did that, I realized, like, as I'm lifting up the envelope, if I'm not placing the page so perfectly, unfortunately it does kind of rip out a little bit of the pocket. So I'm just going to use some washi tape to avoid the paper continuing to rip, and just sliding that right in there. And after that, I'm going to be able to do my journaling. And I believe that's, no, that is not it. I just remembered what happens here. I couldn't help myself. I needed to add something else to the right page because I felt like there was something missing. So here you see me, I have these little like clothing tags from something that I purchased, and I'm trying to see if I can put them in the envelope, and it's too thick. I can't do that. So I'm just going to slide it into the pocket instead. And then moving on to the right side, I felt like it was almost complete, but there was just a little element of color missing because I wanted to kind of bring the two pages more together and make them a little bit more cohesive between one another, I guess. So I grabbed this little ribbon that came as part of a happy mail that Heather sent, and I created these little holes just on the side of the page, and then I'm just gonna put the ribbon through these holes and play around a little bit with how that looks, but it's very kind of loosely done, and just to add a little bit of texture and a different type of element to the page, different kind of interest, and also just a pop of color to that very like monochrome page that's right beside more colors, although muted. It's still a lot busier than this particular page. And then finally, after that, all I do is add some of my journaling. I add one of my favorite lyrics to that. I think it's like a water section onto that drawing. And that's about it for this journaling with me. I really hope that you enjoyed it. As I said, all the information about Ruby and Pearl is going to be listed down below, and everything else that I mentioned in this video as well, as always, of course. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave me a thumbs up. And otherwise, I will talk to you all in my next one. Thank you so much for joining me today. Bye now.
you.